airborne spey cast there is that I know, the name of is called a Devon switch, and the Devon switch is a cast that hooks the line and lowers it that way. It's kind of an airborne, it's like almost a half a figure eight. And all the Devon switches is an airborne spey cast where you don't throw the line opposite where you're coming from. You do, but then you hook, and the hook sends the line a little bit behind you to load it for opposite. And it's just called a Devon switch.
Or a Belgian cast.
It's a good nighttime. I mean, in England you use it at nighttime, because one of the things you can't see at night is where your anchor is. So at night you do a spey cast like that, you can't see your anchor, you do that. So night fishing, which I do a lot of in England, and that's when you use a Devon switch. It's just an airborne spey. So yeah, you can do it.
So is that a Belgian cast, same thing?
Very similar to a Belgian, but you have more hook, because you want your back cast to drift and change plane. Any other questions? One more?
I suppose the perfect Skagit style cast, is any of the fly line used as the anchor, or is it just the sink tip?
Just sink tip. Yeah, just sink tip. You want to have all your blue line out, and the anchor point starting with the blue and the sink tip meet, and then the sinking tip gripping. And with the Scandi lines like this, you don't want any line, you want just the leader. Your perfect timing with these Scandi type lines is just your leader and maybe 2 inches of fly line bite. Any more questions? Some good questions.
With the Scandi lines, we're not talking about using sink tips with them. If we did want to gain a little bit more depth, but we still were fishing, flies with a good cast, then we would simply change over to a Scandi line with the sink tip integrated to the line, or can you attach a sink tip?
Well, another really good question. You can't attach the tip and expect a good performance by attaching the tip to the thinnest, lightest 7 grains a foot front end. That's why I use this the Scandi Short Versa tip, because that's a Scandi style line that we have chopped back 10 feet, where there's a lot more mass. Here there's like 15 grains per foot. So for me, when I use sink tips, I use a Scandi Versa tip. The front 10 feet will come off. I can put on a sink tip, I can put on a Moe tip or a Skagit tip, I can put on T8, because there's enough mass in here. You can't put the sink tip on the front end of that delicate tip. You can put sinking leaders, for sure, Versa leaders and poly leaders on the front of this, but they're hateful things to fish. They're good to cast, they don't fish well because all the mass of a sinking leader is back here at the butt end, and the front end has virtually no sinking material, and so it sinks backwards, has no mass at the front to turn over big flies. So I don't really like those. They're more of a fix, temporary fix. This is what I use, just a Versa tip system where I can just change the tip and have the mass to move it. All right, any more questions?
Any difference in leader design for spey casting?
Well, not really. I like tapered leaders, and so I'll fish a tapered leader. On my Skagit, I'll fish a little 6-foot tapered leader from 20 pound down to 10 or whatever my tip is. I think you get a better unroll of energy, and you don't get a hinge point between the thick line and the thin butt. So I like a tapered leader, but other than that, no, generally the shorter the leader, the faster the sink tip. And on floating lines like this, I'll be about a 12-foot leader. But there's nothing more than that. Okay, some great questions. I've done my share of talking. Oh, sorry?
Can you show some different casts, wombat casts and
yeah,
the other ones while we're here?
All right, absolutely. And then for those who want to cast, we can spread out and do some casting. What was your name again?
John.
John. So John wants to see some spey casts. I'll run through very quickly a couple of the spey casts.
You said there was 16, so if you just will give it 16, it doesn't take too long, would you think?
No worries. So a roll cast, we mentioned, a switch cast, also called a live line roll or a jump roll, non-direction change, single spey. The original single spey cast is a single movement before your forward stroke. Original single spey was more of an old figure of 8 style, like that, but that's an inefficient cast because you have lots of rod path length for a small game. So a modern single spey is much flatter, more like this. Doesn't have these swoopies.
Just comparing those two casts, Simon, the rod tip pass is quite different.
Yeah.
And on the what you call the old one, there was you came up and then you came down again, whereas
Yep.
you didn't on the other one.
Yeah, more up and down.
Yep.
That's a very good way of learning a single spay. It's not a very efficient spay. When you look at how a rod loads, which as I said is something very important, you watch this rod tip, up and down movements, there ain't no flex.
Yeah.
The load comes from lateral movements,
Yep.
and so I have these 3 words I say to more of my advanced classes: flat is good. The flatter your D-loop strokes are, the more the rod will load. Whether it's a snake roll or a single spay, the flatter you can have these strokes, the more the rod will flex. Whereas the more up and down, the more path length, more effort, more muscle, more stroke length I apply for less gain. And so as I teach people to be better casters, I try and shallow out all these strokes to have these flatter, more efficient casting strokes. There's the Perry Poke is a cast that comes in, dumps, kicks, releases. That's a Perry Poke. Snap T or circle spay, you flip, lay your line out in the middle of there, sweep it round, dump it out. An original Snap T, more of an up and down wave, much more powerful cast. A Wombat is a combination of a Snap T with a fold, Perry Poke, like that.
Jelly.
Is it Perry Poke just so you can get more D-loop in?
Right.
Is it Perry Poke so you can get more line back in your D-loop?
Perry Poke's pretty cool. The Perry Poke's a cast, the fold is the part that is cool to me because it stops the centrifugal drift of a D-loop going to one side. It lines it up more. So again, I can talk about that. Jelly roll, somebody mentioned. Jelly roll. So those are all up-river wind casts, up-shoulder cast, down-river cast, double spay. And then, what else we got? Snake roll is like that. Are there any casts I missed out? Which one?
No, I think it's about there, yeah.
Dry fly spay.
Which one?
Dry fly spay.
Dry fly spay, yeah, dry fly spay. More with a one-handed rod where you false cast, dry your file out, and then make a single spay in mid-air. So, because it's the only way you can dry your fly out. Devon switch I showed you. Uzlum is a spay cast where you're doing this. It's like controlling the line. It's where you teach people line control. Set up a D-loop, train track. There's no point in doing that as a fishing thing. It's just an exercise on line control. And then with the one hand, all the turbo spays, the hauls. And I can set the one-handed rod up for those who want to have a shot. Where you put a haul in the cast. Oh, that's a blissful thing. But that's for now.
One more question. You pick up off the water. How do you do it? Do you take it to the side? Do you lift it straight up, or do you put a bit of a spiral in?
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, spiral spay. So with a long head line, when you've got a lot of line out, let's say you have 60 or 70 feet of line out, with quite a lot of water tension here to break on this first angling direction change. And so Steve Choate, an American caster, came up with what's now called the spiral spay, where you use spiral movement to break the surface film. And once it's in the air, it's very easy to put in this position or reposition.
And with your long belly line, how do you take it out of the water?
Just
your
like
long
that.
belly, separate
Yep,
the
just
spiral.
a big spiral. You can, or you could just do a longer, bigger circumference stroke to your back